Hello and welcome to Inverix Solar Energy Pitchside Studio. I'm Sikandar with you, and we'll have a quick chat and a good chat about day through the three sessions. We've got Uruj Mumtaz alongside me, and Ish Sodhi has joined us. Thank you so much.
No.
We'll start with you, Ish. First, we'll talk about your bowling, and we'll talk about how you found the conditions out there for spinners. With the new ball, there was purchased 4 wickets in the first session yesterday. You came in a little later on. You got 2 for 87. We saw some variable bounce when Pakistan started bowling. Was it the same? Because we didn't see any balls keeping that low when the spinners were operating from New Zealand side.
Yeah, I think that's probably the area we have to target in this game. That variable bounce, especially towards the back end of our innings when we were bowling. A couple of googlies I bowled, one actually bounced a little bit more than what perhaps it was over the first couple of days or sessions, and we saw a couple stay low at the end there by Abrar, and I guess that's something pretty to be excited about for a spin bowler.
Have you seen that much of a drastic change when the kookaburra just loses its shine and gets softer? That nothing's available out there for the bowlers, and you have to work extra hard in just keeping that line right.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's very different to conditions that we face, back home, and so generally there's a lot more pace and bounce in those surfaces. So it's very different out here. You have to remain reasonably consistent. I think that's why Ajaz and Braces had a lot of success in that first day, and that's something to learn, I guess, for the rest of this game moving forward.
We've just seen Pakistan 165 for no loss New Zealand, and even Babar Azam bowled. They missed out on Salman, but anything different that you feel Pakistan could have done? Not to say that they would have got 4 wickets, but something, at least a prize to take back at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think they'll be disappointed because you always want to break open a partnership. Now, the one thing is that there's debate around whether Abrar should have taken the new ball because it's a twofold discussion. It allows time for the batters to set. They get used to the surface, get used to the pace of the surface as well, and then when you got about 15-20, you're off the mark. So he came in with not the new ball, but a relatively newer ball. But what I felt that allowed the New Zealand batters, they were in by that time, they got a measure of the surface, and then they picked up Brawl really well. The other thing was that if you've got a plan, you still need to be consistent in terms of its execution. There was points in the game where you couldn't really understand what the plan was from Pakistan in the first place. And I thought Wasim Jr. could have sort of then come over the wicket and with that angle across to the left-hander, which we say because his natural angle is away from the left-hander. Don't think there was enough things tried, and when they were tried, the bowlers probably didn't execute the plans accordingly. So a bit of a day where Pakistan will think, and they'll probably have to think a lot more harder where they do break this partnership come tomorrow.
Ish, before coming to Pakistan, you guys must have had a look at what happened in the Test series before that in England, and we saw that spinners played a big role, Leach and Abrar. Did you come here with that added responsibility given to you by the team that spinners will have a strong say?
Yeah, look, absolutely. I think, we come over here and we want to, give our best as a spin bowling unit. And I think, especially on dry conditions, you sort of expect to play a reasonably big role. Personally, I haven't played red ball cricket for a long time, so it was about sort of coming in and trying to find breakthroughs for the team. And that's kind of the way that I'd like to approach this series so far. And, like you can see out there at the moment, it was quite hard to sort of penetrate the opening partnership there. And but I do think once you do get a wicket, new batters come to the crease, it can be a little bit tougher to, assess conditions. So you've always got to keep that in the back of your mind as a spin bowler. And obviously in the last series, I think England played in a slightly different manner, very aggressive. So, while you're being that aggressive, it can open up opportunities to get wickets as well.
On a personal level as well, you're playing Test cricket after 4 years. You obviously play first-class cricket back home. New Zealand doesn't have the most spin-friendly conditions. How do you keep up with your rhythm, and then how do you sort of tackle with non-spin-friendly conditions back home?
Yeah, it's probably more so the huge diet of T20 cricket that we have at the moment. We've been constantly playing a lot of T20, and I was just saying to some of the boys, like that was the longest spell over 5 overs that I've bowled in the past 10 or 9 or 12 months. So it's something that you really do have to consider these days. You play a lot more cricket and the formats are completely different. It's almost different sport playing T20 to playing red ball cricket. So it's just about assessing that as quick as you can. I think back home in New Zealand, where the wickets don't spin a hell of a lot, there's always a bit of pace and bounce to work with. And that's, I think, a huge friend of a spin bowler as well. Out here, it's slightly different. We just need to figure it out.
Let's have a look at the 2 wickets that you took. 2 for 87 in your 21 overs. Uruj will guide us through.
I'm sure you'll agree, it's probably not the best ball you've bowled, but it's so often than not you end up with a wicket on something that's a half-tracker, Wasim Jr., that gloving that one in. But special to pick up your first Test wicket in 4 years' time. That I thought was really good. You want to talk us through this? I thought it landed pretty well.
Yeah, totally. Look, I think it's just nice out there. There's a little bit on offer in the rough, and so bowling around the wicket, there was perhaps a little bit more to work with. And I guess I look at the first wicket as well. Like my job is to create something out there, and a bit of bounce, whether it's a bad ball or not. I think just making that breakthrough is really important. And so test wickets don't come very often. Especially as a spin bowler from New Zealand. So when they do come, you've got to celebrate them all.
We just look at Tim Southee, his first outing as a captain in the red ball cricket. How have you found him from Williamson to this? And then one question on how or what you feel went wrong where Salman was allowed to score that 100 when we thought that you got Babar in the first over of the day. It will be wrapped up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think Timmy's done a great job out there leading the pack. He's been a T20 captain for a long time as well, so he's not foreign to the role. But I think getting Bubba out in the first over was huge. He's one of the best players in the world on 160 on a wicket that didn't offer a hell of a lot of sideways movement. Getting that nick was a huge part of the game. And I think Salman, it's not so much that we allowed him to score 100. He was just really patient. He defended balls that weren't there to score, and then when they were, he was punished them pretty well. And so he did play a really good innings and got 100. I think out there. Today, as a whole, I think it was about 130 runs that 120 runs that we conceded to get 5 wickets, and I think looking at that from that angle was a pretty good day.
When you look at this surface, what do you make of it second time around when you'll be coming in?
Yeah, it's interesting because day 2 I was expecting maybe a little bit more turn. I think especially looking at it in the first session of yesterday when it did turn for our finger spinners. I thought it was going to spin a lot more, but it generally did flatten out quite a lot over the day. And hopefully over the next couple of days we see a bit more deterioration, especially in the rough to the left-hander. I think there was something to work with there, so if that can break up a little bit more, it might give us something to work with. And again, it's only day 2. Who knows what sort of day 3 and 4 offer, so hopefully it turns a little bit more.
Brilliant. We'll let you join your boys and get some rest, and we'll see you tomorrow.